Thank you again, Chair, Mayor, and Council for hearing me. And also, I'd like to thank Gil Kelly for persevering through this very long day and also with my persistent shots at modern planning. I can't believe this. I can't believe we're doing duplexes again. We're having duplex mania. If 10 years ago you told me that one day I would get most of my public speaking experience talking about duplexes, I wouldn't have believed you. But if you'd also told me that it was illegal to live in a duplex on most land, I also wouldn't have believed you. As I mentioned this morning, my name is Stuart Smith. I sit on the board of Abundant Housing Vancouver. I'm speaking in opposition to this motion. We believe that housing in every neighborhood in Metro should be affordable and available to all, no matter the tenure type, no matter the form, no matter the size, no matter the pitch of the roof or how many dormers it has. If housing is scarce, it will be highly prized, highly valued, and unavailable to ordinary people. Council's job, if we are to make Vancouver a better place for our children's children, must be to ensure that housing is not scarce. There's no justice when there are not enough places to live. Strata duplexes alone, of course, will not resolve the scarcity of housing. However, allowing them is a small and easy step that staff believes could be accomplished with minimal side effects and would result in a few hundred more families per year able to share in some of our great neighborhoods and reduce competition in other neighborhoods. On that basis alone, it's worthy of support. There's also an important symbolism. 20th century planning, as I turn to Mr. Kelly, has often been about enclaves and exclusivity. Earlier today, this council had an important debate about the right to housing in the context of city plan. We should continue to send a strong signal that there is a right to housing. There is not a right to a neighborhood free of duplexes. I wonder if I can pass this around. Is that possible? I have a map. Thank you. Sorry, I'd never done this before. Since I believe Councillor Hardwick, the author of this motion, is a history buff like I am, I'd like to point out that the original Bartholomew plan, this is the 1931 map, actually did allow duplexes everywhere single family were allowed. There was no distinction between one or two family houses. So for the Bartholomew fans in the room, legalizing duplexes is actually a return to the plan's original vision. Additionally, Councillor Hardwick has explained the need for this motion by suggesting that a clean slate is required prior to a city planning process. I find that problematic and suspect that people who live in duplexes today might want to know why their choice of housing is not clean enough. When affordable housing is illegal on most of our land, it should come as no surprise that housing is unaffordable. When it's illegal to house everyone who wishes to live in a given area of land, it should come as no surprise that housing on that land becomes a luxury good available only to the most wealthy. All of our housing, all of this land is all connected. Every lot, every block, every neighborhood is connected to every other lot, block, and neighborhood. There's no way for land use policy in one lot, one block, one neighborhood to not affect every other lot, every other block, and every other neighborhood. The effects of low density zoning do not restrict themselves to the areas that are zoned for low density. The single largest consumer of land in the region are RS low density zones. What's left for the rest of us are small slivers along noisy, polluted arterials and parts of the old city that have been told they have to make room since 1927. Lest Councillor Hardwick worry that RS is not clean enough to plan, have no fear. In RS, we have still banned emergency shelters. We have still banned low barrier shelters. We've still banned warming centers, transition homes, mobile homes, trailer homes, tiny homes, boarding homes, lodging homes, SRO homes, subsidized housing, seniors housing, students housing, multiple conversion dwelling, purpose-built, rental, co-op housing, co-housing, collective housing, 9 plexes, 8 plexes, 7 plexes, 6 plexes, 5 plexes, 4 plexes, 3 plexes are all still illegal in RS. So I hope that that's clean enough to begin this planning process. We even banned basement suites, but in 1942, the federal government told us we needed basement suites to win the war. In 1956, we banned them again and evicted thousands of people who had made them their home. And then in 2004, we reluctantly legalized them one more time, but only by calling them mortgage helpers rather than housing. Banning so much housing across most of the city creates massive eviction pressure on the small parts of the city that remain. The people who need the most consultation about changes to the largest consumer of land in Vancouver are not the people who live in that land. The people who need more consultation are the people who live in the West End and the people who live in Fairview and the people who live in Mount Pleasant, who will be required to leave or squeeze in tighter if RS remains clean. Downtown has been making room for 90 years. The West End has been making room for 90 years. Fairview has been making room for 90 years. And Mount Pleasant has been making room for 90 years. It's not time for Point Grey, Shaughnessy, and Dunbar to make room. I'd like to ask Council, when will it be? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. And I don't see any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being here and speaking twice. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So it sounds like you don't believe that duplexes are a tactic to affordability. You mentioned a few hundred families, but substantively, you don't see that as being a major solution to affordability. Is that right?
Absolutely not. I would use an analogy that another one of our members used. If you are starving, that first bite of oatmeal that someone offers you is not going to satiate you. It's not going to solve hunger, but that doesn't mean you refuse it. We need all kinds of housing, and duplexes will work for some people. It doesn't make sense that we would all look for some sort of silver bullet housing that works for everyone. There is no housing that works for everyone. Some people want duplexes, some people want tiny homes. I want an apartment. Other people want single-family homes. I don't believe it's our job to tell people how they should live, so they should have the option. You want to have a single-family home? Great, go build one. You want to have a duplex? Go build one. I also believe if you want to do a fourplex, co-op housing, collective, all those other ones I mentioned, if that's your jam, then why not? You're not hurting anyone. We don't need permission. We shouldn't need permission to build housing. That's more or less it.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.